Hey guys, and welcome to my guide to the Fallen Protectors on LFR difficulty. So in this boss you'll actually fight 3 different bosses, and each has different abilities which are easily managed on LFR. A big part of the fight is that when each boss hits 66 and 33% they do a special ability. Now you don't want multiple of these happening at the same time, so you want to take the bosses down to 66% one at a time, and then the same for 33. After that they can all be AoE'd down together, which is pretty good. Now let's talk about the bosses themselves. Rook is the first guy, and he does a frontal cone, meaning that he is tanked facing away from the raid. He also throws Corrupted Brew around the place, which will do light damage and a 50% slow, and finally he will charge a player and then do a spinning kick which does moderate damage and applies a debuff. For all these abilities, literally just don't stand in them, real simple. Now at 66 and 33% he will summon 3 adds which must be killed. The first is called Embodied Misery, which hits a target for 300k and puts a Void Zone on them. And the next is Embodied Sorrow, which will cast Inferno Strike, which does 1.2 million damage spread amongst anyone within an 8-yard radius. So pretty much you'll see Inferno Strike, big like orange yellow circle thingy, everyone just stack in it and you'll be fine. And then finally Embodied Gloom will throw nature damage around the room, doing 80k damage. Honestly, it's not a problem. So pretty much when this happens, nuke down the 3 adds, you'll be fine. Now the next boss is Sun. She does an ability which will make the target player do damage to anyone within 5 yards of them, called Shasir, so just don't stand near anyone with that. She also does Shadow Word Bane, which does 55k damage every 3 seconds and jumps to 3 additional targets when it does damage. Honestly, not that much damage, not much of an issue, so that's good. And finally she does Calamity, which does 30% of players' health, maximum health as damage, and removes Shadow Word Bane. Again, not a ginormous problem unless people are very low, which shouldn't happen. At 66 and 33%, she will summon 2 big adds and some small ones. The room will turn black apart from an area in the middle, so everyone stacks up in the area in the middle and kills all the adds. Real easy. Finally we have He. Now he will apply a dot called Garrot to players, which does light damage, and he'll also do Gouge, which will stun a target for 4 seconds if you're facing him, or knock you back if you're facing away. Gouge is really something the tanks have to deal with, so it's really ideal that you just face away from him. So yeah, there's that, and finally he will do 2 kinds of poison. The first is called Instant Poison, which makes his attacks do an additional 100k nature damage, so maybe have a tank cooldown for that, perhaps. And also he does Noxious Poison, which will cause goo to drop on the floor upon a successful attack. Again, it's really okay. At 66 and 33%, he will summon adds and cast Mark of Anguish. Now the mark player will be fixated by the ad, will also be rooted, and the mark does damage per second as well. If the ad hits you, you'll start to take increasingly high damage, so the good news is you can pass this mark to another player, and when you do that you get a 50% armor debuff, but of course the big ad thingy will be going to another player, so essentially pass this mark around so the ad never is killing players, and nuke the ad down real easy. Now, I know I just went over a lot of mechanics there, and I did skim over a lot of the incidental ones. The reason I skimmed over is because they don't matter. You know, they're nerfed into the ground in terms of damage. Like, they're doing maybe 55k damage. Like, come on, people have got 400 to 600,000 HP at the minute, unless they're like a tank. So, basically, all you need to do is take them down to 66% one at a time, because you don't want 2 of their special abilities going. Now, once they're all past the 66% mark, you take 1 down to 33, and then once you deal hits mechanic, take another down, deal hits mechanic, and finally take the last one down to 33. Now after all this happens, all the bosses will be under 33%, and you'll want to kill them all at the same time. The reason for that is because if they die too far apart, they all like come back alive with an extra 10% HP. Like they just regain 10%. It's really not a big deal because it's only 10%. It's not like a normal where they gain tons of health. So really this should be a pretty attainable fight. It's definitely a little bit trickier than Immersius, but honestly, you'll be grand. Anyway, I hope this video helped you out, and sorry for me sounding a little bit funny because I have a cold, which is great. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.